It is October 27th. I'm Mark Stewart, and I wanted to go over reasons why young voters can easily be a Democrat and a Libertarian simultaneously. The two really are very close. Libertarians are socially liberal and economically on the conservative side and individually tolerant. All three are hallmarks of the traditional Democrat Party. Libertarians are pro-peace, pro-free trade, pro-choice on almost every issue. These are precepts of Democrat ideology. The distinction is on economics. Libertarians prefer the free market. Democrats prefer state force. Democrats once preferred free market too. They were the party of low tariffs, low barriers to business formation, cheaper coinage, especially that would help debtors over wealthy creditors. Now, unfortunately, Democrat leaders, I say leaders intentionally because I'm not convinced that rank and file Democrat voters really are very in sync with their leaders. We'll see. Leaders prefer state control to market forces. They restrict businesses from growth. They want to regulate growth. In the process, they end up hurting a lot of people who'd like to get into even simple businesses. Braiding hair, nice small business for a lot of people who don't have a lot of money to go to expensive schools. They've made very hard in city by city by city, in part because they have bigger establishments that seem to take better care of their campaigns. Here is how a Democrat can very comfortably feel like she or he is libertarian. Libertarians hold almost all the same values: tolerance, civil rights for all, freedom of choice for all, freedom of association, and rewards that are based on merit, not status, and certainly not bloodlines. Who you were born to is repulsive. Libertarians want to uplift the same people that almost all Democrats do. They see private groups doing that uplift better than state forces. That's a big, big difference because it's the means to the same end. But when the means get corrupted, as most government functions do, the Libertarians have it right. Remove government corruption and you actually have more passion and at least as much funding for the very same causes that you champion. For those who still want a government system, Libertarians actually allow it. You get Libertarians in power, they will let you run your social welfare the way you want. They'll let you do your schools the way you want. They'll let you do your health care the way you want. They'll let you do their retirements the way you want. Just don't force it on anybody else. Let your group, whether that's small or big, probably at least 40% of Americans are still tied to wanting the government to do it. Fine. That's enough people to have critical mass to do every one of those functions with good economics of scale. I happen to think most of them will not do as well, but Libertarians let you experiment. Your own enclaves may prove them wrong. Good. Good for everyone, and then the naysayers will come your way. In the process, those naysayers are putting up barriers. The do-good Democrats, in the name, for example, of better health insurance, more access, come up with Obamacare. And who does that hurt the most? People who are marginal as far as earnings. Young people who'd like to have full-time work and can't because Obamacare said 29 hours before you become a full-time employee, and employers become sketched out at wanting to take on that extra burden. They even put limits of who those employers are. If it's fewer than 50, fine, you're not subject to the same Obamacare rules. Once you're in a business that grows to over 50 or more, you end up being subject to more rules and more regulations. People in the Democrat Party now want Social Security inviolable. It's a third rail that you can't touch. Well, that third rail is bankrupting youngsters. They cannot possibly pay the debt the way it's been scheduled. You ran off the rails 3 years after Social Security was enacted, and it's not even blindness. Politicians know Social Security is bankrupt. They're too afraid to diss older people, and in the process, they're going to really hurt youngsters. As Social Security goes now, 15% of people's salaries go to something that they will never see. If they become impoverished, maybe. But young people know they will never see their earnings if they end up at 67 years old doing okay. That will have been wasted money. We say, give the money to people now. And once upon a time, traditional Democrats would feel the same way. So we're close. And I do believe that the ideals that young Democrats hold are right now better espoused by those of us calling themselves libertarians. I'm campaigning within the Democrat Party. I am still a big D Democrat. That's my registration. I'd like to reform the party so that we can get back to the JFK Democrats or even earlier. Thank you. Thanks for your open-mindedness.